Welcome to a new episode and journey with M. I'd like to ask you, dear listener, do you feel too small to make a difference? Or how big do we need to be to make a difference? I think it takes courage and effort to do the right thing sometimes. At least in the beginning, before you find the path and the right trajectory, instead of just going with the flow with the rest of people. The heart always tells you when something is not right or true. We just need to listen. The title of this episode came up when my guest mentioned that Greta Thunberg said, "No one is too small to make a difference." So let's welcome our guest, Eric Secher, who has dived into this man-made project of Zionism that, in my opinion, is very symbolic in wanting to make other people's opinions too small to make a difference. A very warm welcome, Eric.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, as they say.
Yeah, of course. Would you like to say a few words about who you are?
Yes, I'm Eric Secher, and I'm 70 now, and I'm surgeon, general surgeon in Stockholm, and I have been for my whole life. It feels like, and I am the father of two daughters, and I have two grandchildren. Yeah, that's me.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Would you like to have worked something else, or are you happy with being a surgeon for all of your life?
I have been happy with that all my life. I have never regret that choice. I think I decided very early during studies that that was what I want to do.
Mm.
Yeah.
And you've been working in Sweden, or have you been in other parts of the world?
Most of the time in Sweden, just short visits in Denmark, Norway, and I've never been working more far abroad. Unfortunately, I haven't. I've been traveling a lot and but never worked outside Scandinavia. Yeah, you know, my family name is Danish, and we had some plans many years ago to move to Denmark and live there. So I tried to learn Danish, yeah, it was
That's
difficult.
easy. You just put a hot potato in your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do that, but it's still difficult to understand
Yeah,
when they speak. Yeah.
very true. So I'll start by asking you, do you think you're too small to make a difference?
Yes and no. We believe in democracy, and now we have an election, and you are just one of many people. And my vote, what difference does it make? But you have to believe that even small, very few people or just one small person can make a difference. And this quote you made in the beginning was from this small book of Greta Thunberg. And that is the title of the book. And this book is her speeches in Davos and all these speeches she had in the beginning. And I mean, she's, of course, the perfect example of that one small person can make a difference.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she's exceptional. Not many such small persons can make such a difference as she did.
Yeah.
And still does. And you also have this information that I've heard several times now that you don't have to be this very big group to make a difference. Maybe it's enough with just some percent or 10%. And often it starts with only one small person.
Exactly. Greta is inspiring a lot of people, so she's perhaps starting this chain of reaction.
Yeah.
And you mentioned we're in a democracy and we vote for our leaders, but also she makes changes, just by being there and by going on flotillas and by speaking up. And another person that I really like, I don't know if you've heard Rumi. Rumi is an Islamic scholar that lived at the time of the Mongol invasion of Afghanistan and other parts of Asia. And he has a lot of loving and compassionate quotes that still circulate till this day.
But Rumi, this is a long time ago,
Yeah, very long time ago. At the time of the Mongols and Genghis Khan.
Okay, it sounded so familiar. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know any of those quotes, but yeah.
Yeah, I should know them by heart. Maybe I should mention one now. Let's see if I can remember. Between the land of right and wrongdoings, there is a space. Let's meet there. I'm not sure if I'm saying it completely right, but that beyond what's right and wrong, let's meet in a place where there's only being.
Yeah, that's one of the things you really want to. I mean, it's more and more black and white.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, we have this deep instinct, or what to call it, that you want to belong to a group, and it's very nice to belong to this group. And after a while, you have this confirmation bias that you only listen to what people say in this group. But at the same time, you have this you want to listen to the others too, but still you want to belong to this group because it's scary to leave the group and say something that is not okay in the group. And
yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, it's tricky.
I'd like to learn more about your journey or shifts, perhaps, because you maybe were neutral or indifferent to the idea of Zionism, and now you have a new perspective.
Yes, of course, I have. In some perspective, I have a new look upon it in another way, but it has been an interesting and challenging journey, because I've really tried to understand both sides. And yes, I've read a lot, and but after a while, you read the things you want to hear.
Would you say, now that you say that you read the things that you want to read, do you think there is information out there that would make you say that Zionism is a good idea or good project?
What I have understood, maybe that is not a good answer to your question, but that is by meeting Jewish people who defend Israel and this so-called Zionistic project, and I understand so much better now than I did before how important this is for them. And I always remind myself, the person I am, with no connection to this conflict. I'm white, I'm a man, I'm well educated, I have had a nice family, and I've never been close to anything like discrimination or persecution or anything like that. So I really try to, and I think I'm very humble, is that the right word, about this. But then at the same time, I listened to this information about that this tendency of always look upon yourself as a victim. And they refer to this terrible thing happened during maybe thousands of years, but especially during the Second World War and this Holocaust. And for them, this is still happening, not in that this is very vivid for them still today.
Yeah, it is a constant or perpetuating trauma for many of them. But
Yeah.
also, I've interviewed in the last episode, for example, a Jew who can see the difference between Zionism and Judaism. Like, Zionism has hurt a lot of non-Jews, of course, you know, with the genocide in Palestine and killed thousands and thousands of children and women and men. But can you see how it hurt Jews as well?
Yes, of course. I mean, as I have understood it, I mean, there has been criticism among Jews against this project already from the beginning. As I understand it, I always want to say as I understand
Yeah.
it, because maybe I misunderstand most of it. I don't know.
Of course. We
But
can always be wrong.
yeah, we can always be wrong, but there is some deep belief in human values deep in this Judaism that is not compatible with Zionism, constructing a separate state for Jewish people. But at the same time, I mean, I was surprised when I started to read some of these books that among those first Zionists, Herzl and this group, they were not very interested in religion and Judaism.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
that surprised me. That surprised me really. I thought that was the common ground for all of them.
Yeah,
But it was not. But also at the same time, you really have the impression that everybody want to get rid of the Jews. I mean, they have nowhere to go. England didn't want them. America didn't want them. So, and I heard you talking about in one of your interviews about this long history. I think one of your interviews with Benjamin Gerber.
Yeah.
You started with this comparison with New York and Manhattan, and if you go back not that long, this belonged to the indigenous people of North America, and then came the white people from Europe. So it belongs to them.
To the white people or to the
to the indigenous. I don't think you say Indians any longer, but these indigenous people living there when
Native
Columbus
Americans,
was coming
maybe.
Native American. Yeah, that's the right word. And does that mean that you should take all the skyscrapers away? What did you say?
Yeah, I wasn't able to know exactly how we should solve this problem, because at the same time, I think Benjamin said that we've always been moving around as people, and you can never say that this land belongs to these people. But at the same time, when it comes to Israel, then that suddenly changes. And yeah, when you mentioned that Zionism wasn't really created by Jews, it's not really about Judaism then. Even until now, the people who stand most behind Zionism are Christians. And it makes me sad when you say that nobody wants to have the Jews, because I think then we need to change that and not make the Jews hide or get stuck in one place.
Yes, of course. My discussions with my friends and was started with I just wrote them. I don't know exactly how much after the 7 October, but I didn't understand how provocative. I just wrote to one sentence or 2 lines critical to, or maybe I used the word anti-Zionism is not the same as
Semitism. No, there's a big difference. Yeah. And that's so, I think that's abusive in a way, because when you're saying that some actions of a country is wrong, doesn't mean that we're against Jews all of a sudden.
No, of course not. It's yeah.
Even since it started, actually, like the Zionist project, many people were opposed to it, and the UN declared it to be a form of racism and racial discrimination in 1975. Yeah, it's called Resolution 3379. It is.
When was that? 70s? In the 70s?
1975.
After 67. I mean, after the occupation of the West Bank and Gaza. I mean, it's after the 6-day war. And after that, and I mean, in the beginning, it was meant to leave it, but they haven't yet.
The occupation continues.
Yeah, occupation continues. And when I read these books, I wanted to understand what was the aim and the intention from the beginning. And
what did you find?
I mean,
what was the intention?
Some of these original leaders, they were more outspoken, but there are many of these leaders and voices that it's clear that we have to get rid of the Palestinians, otherwise we cannot have this state. And but you know, still I want to be very humble, because maybe there are other opinions about this, and
sometimes I feel like whatever history there is, what's happening now is just horrific and should stop, you know, whatever the reason is. Like the ongoing live stream genocide is just beyond now that it's been going on for more than 2 years. And there is no reason to, even if they were persecuted, even if they were, you know, I mean, Islamophobia is increasing a lot now. Should we just make all the Muslims move to another country or land to protect them? It doesn't make sense.
No. You had one very nice sentence with this, Benjamin,
yeah?
Gerber. Yeah, about, I mean, if you say one state solution today, you're looked upon as a very naive person. But and I think I am very much a naive person. I look upon myself as a quite naive person.
Really?
And
why do you say that?
I believe in nice futures, and no, I cannot express it well.
That you believe in the goodness of people, even though the world looks terrible.
Yes. I think all of us have the possibility to be both very good and even very evil.
So true.
Yeah. But about this one state solution, why not?
Yeah.
That's the naive perspective. Why not? And you had a very nice, you expressed it very well. I mean, if you look at this history, what was before the Second World War, when the first Zionists came to Palestine, they were welcomed, and long before that, Jews and Arabs have been living there together, and this is something you know from your own life, that you can easily become enemies, and us and them, but you can also change it to the opposite, and that's something I truly believe in, and you expressed it very well. And but if you mention today that why not the one-state solution, it has gone too far. But there is a organization down there. I think it's called Standing Together. I'm not sure. They really, they want to have a dialogue, and I say, well,
but
I don't think there are a couple.
I truly believe that it's actually never too late. Like, what is the option? To continue genociding people, or to... All the soldiers I see, they seem really, really disturbed and brainwashed, the IDF. So if they just take a step aside and maybe go back to their countries in, I don't know, US or Poland or whatever, and leave the native indigenous Palestinians, whether they're Jews or Christians or Muslims, it would become a beautiful land, like very unique in that it has, you can hear the church bells and calling for prayers in the mosques, and
we have this expression in Swedish, hur svårt kan det vara? How
exactly,
difficult can it be?
exactly.
I mean,
It's about deciding and
yeah.
working towards that goal.
I was reading, there is one guy, he is American, you know Peter Beinart. He's Jewish and he is deeply religious, and he has, I think quite recently, he was writing a book, Being Jewish After the Destruction of Gaza. And I think he's grown up in South Africa. And what the white people in South Africa believed would happen if the black people had power, and they will kill us all. That was their assumption, and but that didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Because and that is, I think, his point, that they got power, they could be elected and not discriminated, and then this will not happen. And I think he also talked about the example of Northern Ireland. They had this long ongoing conflict between Catholics and Protestants, and it was terrible for so many years. But then they had some kind of peace, and under the surface there are still, of course, problems because this has been going on for such a long time. But it is possible. I mean, you're looking for good examples.
It has happened before, so it can happen again.
It has happened before, yes.
Yeah. Any kind of oppression, they say it really hurts both the oppressed and the oppressor, because you feel like, what happens if I, remove my hands from the person's neck or remove my knife from the person's neck? Then of course he will retaliate. So you're in this constant fear of retaliation.
Yeah.
Another Jewish gentleman, Jacob Berger, I think, he was on...
Berger.
Yeah, he's an actor. But he was on the flotilla going to Palestine, and a lot of people were kidnapped on international waters, actually, by Israel. He was interviewed by Piers Morgan, and Piers was saying, like, I don't know why these flotillas are going, and he was like ridiculing Greta Thunberg and talking about that she's just egotistical and wants to, become famous or something. And in the end, Jacob told Piers, Greta has more courage and honesty in her heart than you will ever have, Piers. And I was like, yes, thank you. Speaking again of too small to make a change, why does he mention her if she hasn't made a change? I mean, she must have made a change if he picks on her all the time. And I think Trump also ridiculed Greta.
Yes, I did. I mean, when people behave like that, I mean, you can make it as a general observation that then there is something that you are afraid of or provoked by, and maybe you don't understand what. And this little girl having this courage, it's. But I must admit that I don't fully understand. But I saw it among my colleagues and at the hospital in the beginning of this year of 2018. It was when she started this before the election. They had this meeting every Friday, Fridays for Future, and
when she stood outside the parliament.
Yeah. And I tried to, we finish at 2:00 in Fridays at the hospital, and I tried to. This was at 12:00, and I tried to go there at 12:00. But most of my colleagues, they thought about this. She should be in school. She should not do this. This is, yeah. People were very provoked by this behavior, and maybe it have been different if it has been a little bit more grown up man. I don't know. There was something that provoked people about this girl doing this, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I can see how the way she speaks, she doesn't see so much hope in a bright future. So she's trying to make the changes, the way she can. Because what is a future if she stays silent while, I mean, we see this weather changes now, like it's burning in Europe in forests like never before, and with this genocide, like what future is that? I think she does a lot of more benefit by doing what she's doing than being, in quotation marks, indoctrinated in school.
But I still, 3 years later, she graduated with highest scores, or what?
She's bright.
She's bright.
Yeah.
Brighter than most of us.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. I can see sometimes why people are let down or feel disheartened with all that's going on our planet, like Sudan or Ukraine or Congo or, all this violence. So it becomes too much. But somehow I think Palestine and what's happening there is so symbolic of the source of the problem, this capitalistic hierarchy or abuse, where the US and Israel are really the head of the snake or the head of this pyramid. So if we see it that way and try to, resist together, I think all the other countries will also get a better future.
Yes, you can look upon it as symbolic of the system, capitalistic colonial system, and if you want to put yourself in the chair of someone who believes in Zionism, then they think, oh, you're only interested in this conflict. There are so many other. Why do you? And I try to look upon myself and ask myself, why am I so involved and interested in just this conflict? There are so many injustices and terrible things happening all over the world, and why am I so involved in this one?
It's very healthy and sound to ask oneself that question.
I have no good answer, but
I think your heart knows.
Yes, you want to believe that your heart is telling the truth, but at the same time, as Greta said from the beginning, listen to the science. It's also a little bit frustrating that we are so, maybe that's not what you're meaning when you say listen to your heart, but emotion, we are driven by our emotions, and
we're always driven by emotion. To think that we are able to be 100% objective is not true, I think.
But if you listen to Greta and this listen to the science, I mean, scientists are at least supposed to just find the truth about what is happening and about our climate and the ecosystems and earth science. And of course, they have to change their. I mean, science is making progress, and we have new truths and so on. I was recently reading. Do you know Anders Hansen?
Yeah, the psychiatrist.
He has written several books, I think, but the last one is the Achilles heels of the brain, and it's this brain we have. It's so old, and it's meant for living in small groups on the savannah. And if you meet someone, you expect this is someone I will meet again, and so on. This brain we have, it's constructed for this kind of life. And now
Yeah.
we have a modern society in big cities and so on, but we still have this brain. And that means a lot of Achilles heels for us.
Mm.
And he has several chapters about different aspects of this. And one of them is this them and us, this strong instinct of them and us. And he shows in this text about experiments how easily, and that is really something you experience in your own life, how easy you can make these groups. I mean, you can see it at your working. Suddenly we have new groups, and they are very different from us. And the next week or the next month, you have different groups. And yeah, this is deep in our the way
Construct.
we function. Yeah,
Yeah. I
I
think
think
that
he
goes
said
along
that
with
if
that we're emotional beings.
he has one chapter about emotions and feelings and how necessary and useful that was, and that we needed.
Yeah, I definitely think the emotions or heart, if you're, a stable, sound person, that it can tell you so much more than a scientific experiment. Because in science, we follow just one variable, but life isn't like that. Life is,
No, no, no.
different energies, different
Mm,
things going across each other.
mm. His main message that it comes in every chapter, that the functions of this brain that has been evolved for millions of years, it is surviving. We think about having good lives and well-being and to be successful and all these things, but it's all about survival. All the construction, this brain is made for survival. And now we have this abundance. They were living in, you call it scarcity, or they could never be sure of having enough. There was one interesting note about the dopamine. Dopamine is this molecule that makes us we want to have more, we want to have more, and we are never satisfied. Not too many years ago, the scientists thought that dopamine is both this that you want to have more and also the satisfaction. But having more is dopamine, and having this more slow working satisfaction feeling is endorphins. But we have this fossil fuel, and we have abundance, but we still have this instinct of always looking for more, looking for more. And
We're stuck.
yeah, we're stuck. We're addicted to this. Yeah, we're stuck.
Yeah. I would say this is also tricky, that we can get stuck and lose our sight of what's really important in life.
What is important in life is free. Someone said it's not the expensive things and all the consumerism and all. What is really important is free. I mean, relations and
Relationships, yeah. I agree. That's true success, having good relationships.
yeah.
And perhaps also removing the obstacles in the way. I'm thinking if we see evil, that we say that it's evil, because just as you said, we have both inside of us. So to stop it before it becomes too big. There's a saying by the Prophet Muhammad in Islam that says, whoever among you sees evil, let him change it with his hand. If he cannot do so, then with his tongue. And if he cannot do so, then with his heart. The point,
Yeah.
I think, is to not become indifferent to evil.
Yeah, that's true. When I think about, I always try to find examples from your own experience and at the work. You can have this atmosphere where everybody wants to get to do as little as possible, and then you have that. more or less vicious circle, vicious cycle.
That you keep putting
But
work on each
that,
other.
yeah. But then if someone go, and that is maybe an example of that one person can make a change. If someone shows that, say, I can do that, and if you not have time, I can do it, and then suddenly there is spreading completely a new
Yeah,
attitude and a new atmosphere, and then you're going the other way around. That people are more or less competing of being the one
exactly.
who is and
I
yeah.
can see it so in front of me happening because I've been in these
Mm-hmm.
situations before, like how it shifts so quickly.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, quickly. Yes, exactly.
It's like you become maybe a bit embarrassed to play the old game, and then you're like, oh no, I can do that too. I can help.
Mm-hmm. 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 That's very inspiring.
It's a very good reminder to
Mm-hmm.
maybe be that person who breaks the cycle
Mm-hmm.
because the other people will follow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a beautiful
Yeah,
example.
a small person can make a difference.
Yes, that's maybe a perfect way to end this. I think we really have to realize, how strong we are together in the face of those who
Yes.
want to divide us and abuse us, perhaps.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you'd like to add before we end, Eric?
So many things, but um, I mean, as an individual, and if you don't have that courage, like Greta Thunberg or many others, it's, I mean, it's always nice to be in the group, but sometimes you have to go outside and
Yeah, take a leap
being
of
an
faith.
activist. Yeah, I mean, we have a group meeting once a month. Many of them are really climate activists, because it's nice to meet people having the same awareness of what is happening with this little lonely planet. And I mean, this system of eternal growth on a finite planet. To me, it's so ridiculous and it's so bizarre
Yeah,
that we couldn't continue like this. And all the parties we have in our parliament, they still believe in more economic growth. Even the Miljöpartiet, they tried some years ago with this. Amanda Lind was a new talesperson, or what they call it, språkrör,
yeah,
leader
representative
of
or.
the Miljöpartiet. Yeah, and she tried, and she said, we cannot have this system of continuous eternal growth. But she had to take it back just after 1 week.
Wow.
It was impossible to say, but it's still, for me, it's still this fairy tale of H.C. Andersen, of the naked emperor. The emperor is naked, and we have to now we try
Act.
to solve this we try to solve this problem with more of the same that
Yeah.
gave us all these problems, and it's completely bizarre. I mean, I don't think people fully understand what this exponential growth is meaning.
No.
I mean, if you have just a few percent of yearly growth, it means that after 100 years, the economy is 30 times bigger in 100 years, and in 200 years, it's 1,000 times. It's impossible,
Yeah.
and we have to change the system. And I don't know if you're familiar with Jason Hickel. Mm.
No.
He's very involved in this Palestinian conflict, but he's also um, in the degrowth movement. So he has written a book called "Less Is More,"
That's a
and
perfect title.
about how yeah, it's a perfect title, and even in the other direction, more is less. You can read it both ways, and how degrowth will save the world. He has one very nice comparison to when people believed in 500 years ago that the planet Earth was the center, and the sun was circling around us,
Mm.
and they tried to. His name was Copernicus. That find out that it's the opposite. It's
It's the other way
we are
around.
circling around. It's the other way around, and then everything fell into place. So he's taking that as an example. If we can leave this belief in this impossible eternal growth, then we have the chance.
Yeah.
But if we still believe in this bizarre thinking,
This
it's real,
impossible
then you can be
equation.
really,
So, what would you
yeah.
say something that, you and I and maybe your daughters can do to shift our energy from this impossible growth to what? What do you think we should put our energies on?
As individuals, it's I mean, the fossil fuel, we take up even more fossil fuels, and we use even more fossil fuels, and these other solutions, they need fossil fuels to be constructed. I don't think we realize how dependent we are on these fossil fuels, and you can just say leave it in the ground, but this civilization is so completely dependent on these fossil fuels.
Mm.
And I think that most of the politicians understand that if we just suddenly stop this fossil fuel dependency, it will be a catastrophe because we have been so dependent on it.
Yeah.
And electric cars is not a solution, but they try to make us believe that that's the solution.
Mm.
But you asked about what we can do, you and I and my daughters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Maybe we should focus more about quote telling the truth about what we are
Exactly.
doing.
I was just going to say you're making a
I,
difference by sharing what you're sharing.
yeah, because all these, this about the individual footprint.
Mm.
You can measure your individual footprint, and then you find out that instead of 1 or 2 tons of carbon dioxide, if you live in Sweden, it's maybe 10
Mm.
tons of per person. And it's this measure was constructed from the oil industry
Mm-hmm.
because they want us to blame. You want to blame the individual,
Mm.
not the companies, and it
They
is
want to make
effective that
us
you
feel
you
bad.
feel it. Yeah, you want to make us feel bad, and you try and you make your small efforts, but
And then the world
maybe the
leaders,
most.
they take the airplane to go get ice cream from a place and then they go back.
Mhm,
And we have to think
mhm,
about the turning off the
mhm,
lights and shower for 5 minutes.
mhm. I do my best, but I
Yeah,
don't.
of
I'm
course.
not. I've not been flying now for 6 years or something, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that that is making the big difference. Maybe it's more about.
The
I mean,
wars, the
Greta's
genocides.
talking. Yeah, yeah, to be fully informed about. If we are not informed about what is happening, for example, in Palestine, but also informed about the system that is. Not possible. It's not sustainable.
Yeah. And it's connected. They're connected.
Yeah, they are connected. Yeah, true. They are connected. I think too. I mean, there is a woman called Helena Norberg. She's Swedish, but she's living most of her time abroad, and she made a film 15 years ago, and that was a game changer for me. It's called The Economics of Happiness. It's one. You can find it on YouTube.
Okay.
It's 1 hour, and and since then she has this organization called Local Futures,
Mm-hmm.
and
Local
yeah,
futures.
yeah. She was in Sweden some weeks ago and making a tour showing this film again, and they have got a lot of prizes. I think it's translated to even Arabic, and
Mm-hmm.
just read that it's translated to 27 languages.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's
Mm.
then you really have an alternative to have a vision of something different, not only blaming this system. You want
Yeah.
to You want to have something a good alternative.
Exactly.
And I was so happy because I saw this film when it came out in 2011, and I said to people, you have to look at this one. And then she showed up here. I was so happy.
Yeah.
You see, I was right.
Yeah. I'll definitely watch it.
You asked me if there was anything more I wanted to say, and you got 20 minutes.
That's lovely bonus. Thank you so much for your generosity, and also for all the people you mentioned and recommended. I wrote them down and I'll look them up, and I'll start with this last movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for your time.
And thank you very much.
And thank you to all our listeners, and see you next time on The Journey with M.